So we're really excited to have you here, and I just have a few questions and hope that we can just have a conversation. So the first question I have actually is for both of you, wanting to know just how you came to doing ethnographic work. Sort of what brought you to doing ethnography.
Go ahead.
Okay. Actually, I was trained quantitatively, and I'm glad in retrospect that that's the case. You know, I had really high-level training in quantitative methods, and I was doing my dissertation in West Africa. I was doing my dissertation in Ghana, and at the time there was a very well-known framework, Alex Inkley's and these people modernization framework. It's since been, in many ways, debunked or what have you. It's not, one doesn't talk here about it anymore, but it's, and I was traveling all over Ghana. I was young. There was a lot of money back then for these kinds of things. So I was traveling all over Ghana, and I was actually looking at the production of modern attitudes among high school students in a carefully stratified sample of high schools. And it was a survey instrument that I had based on Inkley's work and other people's work at the time. And I realized the presumption was that if there was modern attitudes, there would be structural modernization. And I realized, as probably about the first week that I was in Ghana, that the United States had just dropped the price of cocoa in Ghana, which was the primary crop. And as a result of the dropping of the price in cocoa, the CEDI, was the currency, and it was actually worth very little. So the idea that a country could modernize if it had modern attitudes really was up for grabs for me very, very soon after I landed in that country. So at that time I realized I heard a lot about what was happening with the then global economy, although we didn't use that term, and America's role in that global economy, although we didn't really talk about that much at the time. And it became very clear to me that if I really wanted to understand what these issues of modernization were, I was going to have to really dig deep into interviews and so forth to see what was really going on. I didn't do that at the time. I was trying to gather my data for my dissertation, come back and write my dissertation. But it became clear to me after living overseas that I was probably destined for another kind of scholarly work. And that's how I became an ethnographer. And Michelle knows this because we've talked a lot about this, but living overseas put me in, I was gone for 2.5 years, and it really put me in a space where everything was demoored. I was demoored. All the constructs I held to be the case were demoored. Everything was not as I thought it was, and that's partly why I took myself overseas. There were scholarly reasons for being there, but there were also personal reasons for being there. And as a result of living in that space of demooring for 2.5 years, and space that was very lonely at times, but also just unbelievably invigorating. And I almost was reinvented myself, both as a person in many respects, but also as the kind of scholar I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And I came back to the United States understanding really how really good I was at understanding other people and sort of getting inside their heads as they spoke without being judgmental. So that's how I really became a person interested in qualitative methods. That was not my original training at all.
Right, so that your time there, you became a sort of, I guess, unofficial ethnographer, and you realized that that was something that you could actually use in your future work, but you didn't change your dissertation.
No, I did not. I couldn't. One, I couldn't, but two, I couldn't.
And three, she couldn't.
Yeah, okay.
So I just, but when I came back, I wasn't sure that I was going to go into the academy. In fact, I thought I probably wouldn't. So it was just kind of, I thought I would be working for UNESCO or UNICEF or one of the major agencies overseas. And it did not occur to me that I would be teaching at a university at that time.
Right.
So it was, that was, and, we had, our money went far back then. So I lived there, and it didn't cost me very much to live. It was great.